Put those sun hats and beach towels away because, unfortunately, spring break is over, but it's barely above 30 degrees.
But the real deal is back, so we know you can get excited about that.
Right, and we have an abundance of great content for you this week.
So put those swimsuits away and grab those parkas, because from Ball State University, the real deal starts now.
You may want an umbrella too, Indiana weather.
Yeah. Welcome back to another didactic episode of The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm Angelo Oriama.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. This week we have riots because Boss Baby didn't win Best Picture. Instead, it was the dunk and dive film Shape of Water.
Eli, I mean, as moderators, we have to show some support for Shape of Water. You know, Ball State represent, chirp chirp.
What?
Doug Jones, aka Glub Glub from The Shape of Water, was from the We Fly squad at Ball State, chirp chirp.
But Boss Baby, it was a baby. In a suit, Angelo, a suit.
Okay, but was it directed by Michael Bay?
No, but neither was Shape of Water.
Yeah, but Bay will definitely be dominating next year's Oscars with his next two films, and Nathan Richard has the scoop. Take it away, Nathan.
I'm Nathan Richard, and I'm here with this week's Hollywood headlines. The first story today centers around my Lord and Savior, Steven Spielberg, who recently held a table reading for a biopic on conductor and composer Leonard Bernstein, which he is considering to be the film he does after Indiana Jones 5. Coincidentally, the other film Spielberg is considering is a remake of the beloved musical West Side Story, which Bernstein wrote the music, though this film might not even come into fruition, as table readings are part of how Spielberg picks his next film. This past week, director Patty Jenkins confirmed on Twitter that actress Kristen Wiig will be taking on the villainous role of Cheetah in Wonder Woman 2. Wiig is most known for her comedy roles in films like Bridesmaids and the Despicable Me franchise, as well as her work on SNL, though she has shown her dramatic chops in films like The Skeleton Twins, The Martian, and Mother. Not much is known about the plot of the sequel, other than the fact that the film is set in the 1980s during the Cold War. In Star Wars news, Lucasfilm has hired Jon Favreau to write and executive produce the live-action Star Wars series that will debut on Disney's upcoming streaming service. Favreau has been building a relationship with Disney, having been involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as directing their acclaimed 2016 live-action remake of The Jungle Book, and he is currently directing the studio's live-action remake of The Lion King. No plot details or release date have been unveiled for the Star Wars series as of yet. Marvel Studios recently announced through a Twitter thread that the highly anticipated Avengers Infinity War will release 1 week earlier on April 27th instead of its initial May 4th release. This means that Infinity War will now open across theaters globally on the same weekend. Previously, Marvel has been known to have their films released a week earlier overseas, though this time that's not the case. And finally, fresh off directing the train wreck that was Transformers Last Night, Michael Bay has set up his next two films. First up is the film Six Underground, with Skydance Entertainment. No plot details have been revealed about this film, but it comes from an original screenplay from Deadpool writers Wet Reese and Paul Wernick. The other film Bay is setting up is Robopocalypse, which is the adaptation of the best-selling novel set after a robot uprising. My Lord and Savior, Steven Spielberg, will produce the film. That's it for this week's Hollywood headlines.
Thanks, Nathan.
Eli, Dr. Ronald, and I give that 5 out of 5 epic explosions.
And an extra explosion for unnecessary effect.
Oprah!
What?
Oprah, Eli! She's right there! She's gracing the next segment with her elegance and beauty.
All right, should we just let Josie take it away then?
Of course, it's Oprah!
Okay, Josie.
What's the fastest way to travel? According to Disney's newest film, A Wrinkle in Time, it's by folding the fabric of space and time by using a fifth-dimensional phenomenon called a tesseract. A tesseract can take you across the universe and to new worlds, like how the audience is transported while watching this heartwarming film. Meg Murray's father has been missing for 4 years, disappearing shortly after the adoption of her little brother, Charles Wallace. Before Mr. Murray's disappearance, he was researching a concept known as a tesseract, a way to travel across the universe. Meg, Charles Wallace, and their friend Calvin embark on a journey to find Mr. Murray with the help of 3 mysterious universe travelers, Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Witch. Together, they must find a way to free Mr. Murray from the prison that he's in and save the light of the world from the darkness that threatens the universe. Starring Storm Reid as Meg and featuring big-name stars such as Chris Pine, Reese Witherspoon, Oprah Winfrey, what could possibly go wrong? A few things, actually. While the film had many good moments, the plot was overall very confusing, and it seemed like there was a lot of important information missing. That made it feel like it was jumping from different storylines, leaving a lot of unanswered questions. One minute, it went from a scene that was colorful and fun, looking like it came straight from The Wizard of Oz, to a scene that looked like it came from a horror movie that would definitely terrify children. There was just too many storylines that got jumbled together. It also felt to me like it took way too long for the actual story to begin. The first half of the movie felt like all exposition before finally getting into some action. However, I will say that the effects in this movie were spectacular. It had a lot of very vibrant colors and was very whimsical. Also, the acting in the movie was pretty good. There were many cute, heartfelt family moments between brother and sister or children and father. The film focused on love and friendship and overall spread a good message to kids. Plus, it made Oprah actually larger than life, which was fun to see. Overall, I give this movie a 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm Josie Underhill. See you next time.
Thanks, Josie, and thank you, Oprah, for being Oprah. Oprah 2020. Bless up.
What about Ellen?
Yeah, like, no one cares about Ellen. All they care about is you get a taxidermy animal, and you get a taxidermy animal, and you...
They are not just things you can give away. They are not property. They have feelings too. Right, Dr. Ronald?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Ronald. I'm sorry for insinuating that you were my property or something. You know, you mean so much more to the team than that, Dr. Ronald. I'm so sorry.
While Angelo wins back Dr. Ronald's favor, we're going to go on a short break. We'll be right back.
I'm sorry. Welcome back. Good news, everybody. Dr. Ronald forgave me as long as I become his secretary. This includes his grading and getting in contact with Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg for Dr. Ronald's new biopic, Over the Hedge. Hedge Another Day.
Interesting, but do you hear that? Sounds like something's ringing.
Oh, sorry, I got it.
Shouldn't you take that?
No, it's Henry Cavill. You see, we're trying to get him to voice one of the characters for the film, Super Squirrel.
I thought it was a biopic.
Oh, we have a whole extended universe planned. We're also hoping that Netflix picks up because we have a spy series in the works.
Kind of like that one movie, Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, like Spy Kids 3. Eli, don't be silly.
Well, I was trying to make a smooth segue into Parker's segment, but there goes that idea.
Well, then take it away, Parker.
All right. Well, it's that time of year when Hollywood gets lethargic and leaves us moviegoers relatively bored for a couple months. Since there aren't that many blockbuster movies being released, I needed to entertain myself over spring break. So I threw in a bunch of movie titles in a hat, and out I drew The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Now, raise your hand if you saw this movie. Don't worry, I don't have to actually see you to know that absolutely nobody saw this movie. Because nobody saw this movie, combined with the lackluster reviews for it, I was expecting The Man from U.N.C.L.E. to be a shoddy spy flick. Well, I was pleasantly wrong. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was a surprise hit for me. I'm actually a little shocked that I didn't see it sooner and that the critics just passed it over. Why is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. my favorite Guy Ritchie film? Well, it's a spy movie set in the 60s that has great style and doesn't take itself too seriously. It reminded me of the older Bond movies before they started to go dark and gritty. Guy Ritchie expertly shifts the tone from action set pieces to hilarious comedy moments without it feeling forced at all. Add in the great comic book styled montages, the amazing cinematography, perfect music selection, and great sound design, then you get a great style from Guy Ritchie that I just can't wait to see again. Now, Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, and Alicia Vikander were perfect ensemble for the movie. Henry Cavill takes the cliche spy role, then adds some panache, and runs with his role. I was never bored when he was on screen with his suave spy persona. Armie Hammer worked perfectly with Cavill to the point that I thought the movie was more of a spy versus spy, or even the closest thing we'll ever get to a live-action Archer movie. While this movie was great, it's not without some faults. For starters, the plot itself is far from unique. It's the cliche mustache-twirling villain with a nuclear bomb that must be stopped, yada, yada, yada. The villains were serviceable, but nothing more. Second, Armie Hammer and Alicia Vikander's romance was completely forced and totally unnecessary. Also, Hammer's Russian accent was very stereotypical and a little hard to get used to at first. Probably the biggest problem was that the third act drops off. The final climax was rushed and not as thought out as the rest of the movie, and overall, the ending just felt skimmed over. Do these faults detract from the movie? Not at all. Even with the shortcomings, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was amazing, and I'll gladly watch it again. Since you probably skipped over the movie, like I did, I highly suggest that you rent or buy the movie for a couple of fun hours. See you later. I'm Parker Carlson.
Thanks, Parker.
Henry Cavill would be proud, but unfortunately, Cavill turned down the role of Super Squirrel. However, though, Chadwick Boseman said he would do it, so who's really winning here?
I don't know, a squirrel seems a step down from panther.
Obviously, squirrels are the natural predator to panthers.
That is not correct.
Dr. Ronald would never lie to us, just like Lanisha would never lie to us.
I'll believe Lanisha. Lanisha?
Marvel's Black Panther has graced the world with its presence on February 16, 2018. In its fourth weekend, the movie has made a record-breaking bang at the box office, which makes it the #1 movie in the world. This movie could not have been a success without the help of its audience. I have witnessed firsthand people dressing in African royal attire to honor the African roots in the film. It was phenomenal to see so many different people come together to make history. Out of all the different people that showed up to see the movie, it was touching to see how the movie changed the thinking process of children. The youth were able to see Black people as more than drug dealers, thieves, and every negative aspect that is shown in Hollywood. The movie aided the youth to see that they are kings and queens of royalty and how to change their negative environments into something more powerful for the next generation. The technologically advanced film was special in connecting to its African roots. The passion and drive that put the movie together was revolutionary. The youth can look forward to many historic moments that are not taught in today's society. 2 historic moments that stood out to me was the African language the cast spoke and how King T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye represented the Pan-African flag. The language Wakandian people spoke was called Xhosa, which is an actual South African language that many of the cast members spoke. The Pan-African flag was shown when King T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye walked into the room in Korea. Nakia wore a green dress, King T'Challa wore a black suit, and Okoye wore a red dress in the order of the flag. The Dora Malahe warriors took pride as protectors of their country. They embraced their strength in their bald heads. The moment General Okoye had to put on a wig to blend in, she looked and felt uncomfortable. The Dora Malahe were incredible protectors of the Wakandian throne and any king that sat upon it. I remember watching a video of young girls that replicated the fight movements from the warriors. It touched my heart because the video showed how young children are paying close attention to everything around them. There's a lot to say about the movie, so I will keep it short. So thank you, Ryan Coogler, and everyone involved for being trendsetters and helping people know their worth when they give up on themselves and their nation, and in teaching people how to protect each other during the hardships and good times. I am excited to continue to see the nationwide growth of the film and to be a part of history. I have seen the movie twice, and I am ready for 2 things: for it to come out on DVD and to purchase my plane ticket. Wakanda forever.
Thanks, Lanisha.
Guess what?
What?
We moved up the shameless plug.
It's shameless plug time?
Shameless plug time.
Yes, okay, all right. This week we got Rob Segovia. Sorry, broke up Rob Squared, by the way. We got Noah Bullard with the best cameo ever, and we got Tyler Landis with Death. That's actually pretty depressing.
Angelo, you got a question?
Actually, I have 2, Eli.
Okay, shoot.
Why did my writers write in the script that I have to keep my arms up? And why haven't we gone to commercial break yet?
We'll be back after the break.
Hip-hop historian Evan Auerbach posed a mind-boggling question on Twitter to which the masses rushed in and made their arguments. What is the greatest 3-album hip-hop run of all time? It's a tough question to answer, especially when I went through my collection and realized that it's not as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Now, everyone has their favorite movie cameos. Whether it's your favorite comedian, a star you didn't expect, or even a bit of fourth wall breakage, cameos are essential parts of some films and absolutely hated in others. That being said, professional athletes are not known for their acting.
The Walking Dead, the show that made the zombie apocalypse a household worry. Whether you love it or you hate it, you have got to admit that this show is a big deal. Now, while things have changed quite a bit since we saw Sheriff Rick Grimes awake from a coma, one thing has stayed constant is the fear of seeing your favorite character being ripped apart, shot in the head, decapitated, knifed.
We're back, baby, and why are my arms still up? Why are my arms still? Eli, can you help me out, please? Just a little thank you. Come on. Okay, well, it looks like I lost control of my arms, kind of like Kyle lost all of his other pilgrims.
I don't think those two things are related.
It's in the script, so it must be true. Right?
On that note, I'm going to move on to the talented Shelby Deal and her trailer watch. Shelby?
Can someone help, please?
Hello guys, today I'm going to give you a rundown on a couple of trailers of some new movies. The first of which is called Blockers. This movie is about a couple of parents who just sent their daughters off to prom. Lo and behold, they find out their daughters have a pact to lose their virginity at prom, and the movie is based on them trying to stop that. The movie has several interesting casting choices, like Leslie Mann, who is a hilarious actress and is great in every role she plays. Then there's also John Cena, who plays one of the parents, as it seems he has become a sort of gimmick in these types of comedies. Okay guys, usually I say what I like most about the trailers that I review next, but I don't think there was anything about this one that I liked. The premise behind the movie is kind of weird, creepy, and invasive. The jokes depicted in the trailer seem kind of tired and cliche. The clueless parents is a trope beaten to death in Hollywood, and this trailer shows it by having the parents look at the texts of their daughters, which are all emojis, and they have no idea what the emojis mean. It also shows a scene of the parents at a high school party, which also happens too often in films to be considered original anymore. Overall, this trailer does not interest me in going to see the movie. It comes out April 8th, and I probably won't go see it. The next trailer is The Miracle Season, which, get this, is about a volleyball team. The story follows a high school volley team after one of their star players die. The girls must pull together if they want to have a chance to win the state championship. Do I really need to say why this movie looks so cool? It's not about basketball, it's not about football, and it's not about baseball, and it's not about boys. I love the variety, and I love the twist on the sports drama by talking about a different sports team than the trifecta that every sports movie talks about. The movie is also based on a true story, which I love. The best part of the trailer are the sequences depicting the girls playing volleyball. The shots were mixed with normal moving shots, then slow-mo, emphasizing moves made by the team. It's the hallmark of the sports movies to highlight the actual sport, so it was nice to see that. Another great moment in the trailer showed the spirit of the movie. The team got out of the bus on the way to one of their games, and they made snow angels in the snow. It was really cool and showed the team camaraderie is at the center of this movie. It comes out April 6th, and I will definitely go see it. The last trailer I'm looking at today is Beirut. This movie is about a U.S. diplomat who gets summoned to Beirut by a CIA operative. He had previously fled Lebanon in 1972 because of an incident, and he has to go back to negotiate for the life of someone he left behind. Ooh, this movie sounds very exciting and thrilling. The movie stars John Hamm and Rosamund Pike, which is cool because she was awesome in Gone Girl. The best part of the trailer are the action scenes because they also add a little suspense to the trailer. John Hamm's character is called back to Lebanon, and a scene shows him speaking in front of a group of people. Then the building gets blown up. It makes you wonder why he was really called back, which also amped up by the trailer stating that what all the parties involved want, such as the Americans want to keep their secrets and the Israelis want to raise the stakes. It makes it seem like no one knows the full story, which makes me want to watch the movie to see what is actually going on. The movie comes out April 11th, and I will really want to go see it.
Thanks, Shelby.
Baby Boss still should have won. No one cares about Glub Glub.
Glub? He's actually called Amphibian Man.
Still ugly either way, and he isn't even wearing a suit.
Baby Boss wasn't even nominated for Best Picture, Eli.
It was cheated. Alec Baldwin deserved that Oscar.
Okay, but Glub got it, and we have to live with that. Okay, I mean, maybe Tiara can change your mind.
Doubtful, but I'll stay optimistic because I love Tiara. So Tiara, take it away.
The Shape of Water was one of my favorite movies of 2017, and I was so happy to see it pick up Best Picture at the Oscars this year. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I love it so much. The Shape of Water was directed by Guillermo del Toro, director of Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim, and Hellboy. The movie also stars Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer, Michael Shannon, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Ball State alumni Doug Jones. The movie's about Elisa Esposito, played wonderfully by Sally Hawkins. She's a mute custodian that works at a government science facility, and they have captured this amphibian creature, and they're doing tests on it and torturing it. And Elisa begins to visit this creature, and the two form a very close bond. Everything about this movie is stunning, from the visuals to the score to the set design to the performances. Now, this movie is a love story between a woman and a monster, which is totally unconventional, and it may turn off some viewers, but what this movie is about and where it really resonated with me is that everyone in this movie is an outsider in some way. The characters in this movie feel like they don't belong to society and they feel incomplete, and they're looking for something more. And Elisa and Amphibian Man find that in each other. Elisa even says, "He does not know what I lack or how I'm incomplete. He sees me for what I am, as I am." Speaking of Sally Hawkins, she was phenomenal in this movie. She plays a mute character, so she doesn't even speak at all in this movie, and this only shows how talented Sally is. She's able to convey all of her thoughts, feelings, and emotions without speaking a single word, and the entire time, it is so amazing. I still think that she deserved Best Actress at the Oscars, but it's fine. And the way Guillermo del Toro was able to show the relationship between this woman and a fish man and have the audience completely forget that this concept is sort of weird is incredible. I found myself loving and being able to relate to every character in some way, even the antagonist played by Michael Shannon. This movie is something that has to be seen to be believed. Every moment is gorgeous and sweet, and if it doesn't make you feel a little bit of something, then your heart is made of stone. If you haven't seen it or you are needing a reason to see it, let its Oscar win or this review be it. Everyone needs to see this spectacle of a movie. Thanks, I'm Tiara Spells.
Thanks, Tiara. So, Eli?
I guess Shape of Water did deserve it. Maybe I'll give it a chance since it's a spectacle.
All right, well, it'll be okay. Take it this way, Eli. Your love for Boss Baby is better than any Oscar.
Thanks, Angelo.
What are friends for? So I'll tell you what, after our final word, we'll watch Boss Baby with our Boss Baby, Brandon Krakowski.
Really?
We'll be right back for our final word.
I love Boss Baby. Welcome back, Real Dealies. Today I want to talk about something about 117 million people enjoy. Netflix. When we first started using this streaming service, I doubt any of us expected it to start pumping out its own content faster than Vin Diesel's 1970 Dodge Charger in Fast 5. But its first original series, House of Cards, was a huge success, and Netflix continues to release well-received content. Netflix is predicted to spend $8 billion on original content in 2018, creating 700 series and 80 movies. That's crazy. And I'm super excited to see this stuff because it's super rare for them to disappoint me when it comes to originals. But it's unclear what this means for the streaming world as a whole. I don't want to sound negative, but $8 billion is a lot of money. Netflix might have to raise the prices to support these creations, which would definitely drive people away since one of the main perks of Netflix is its low price. And with Disney's secret streaming plan under works, there's no telling what will happen to a lot of Netflix content. We all know Disney owns everything, and there's a lot of material Netflix will lose. Netflix already slacks when it comes to reality TV, and Hulu definitely has them beat in that category. We've already seen a lot of channels create their own streaming services, opting for a plan that only works for those with cable logins, which is a whole different rant because why would I need to stream stuff if I have cable in the first place? But my point is, what if we end up having to purchase 10 different streaming accounts plus cable just to keep up with our favorite shows? And on a more positive note though, I'm definitely happy to be around for one of the coolest inventions, and that's streaming television. Nothing can be perfect forever, and we're bound to see some struggles as this platform works out some kinks. Thanks for spending another week with me. That's all I have for today.
Very well said. Well, thank you, Eli. But before we move on to my final word for this week, I need to send out a little bit of warning. This segment contains crude humor, thematic elements, and a whole lot of graphic nudity. So, viewers' discretion is advised. Today, I want to talk about the Motion Picture Association of America, or the MPAA for short. If you're not familiar with the group, they are essentially responsible with dictating a film's rating on a scale from G all the way up to NC-17. As our staff and a whole lot of our audience consists of college-aged individuals, the MPAA's decisions really don't matter a whole lot to us, at least in comparison to other demographics. You see, we're at an age where we can pretty much see whatever we want, and generally we don't have to worry about censoring what our children see because we don't usually have any. That is, unless you count Kyle, who everyone has to parent around here. Yeah, looking at you, Wooldridge. Clean up your milk when you spill it and do your dishes, young man. Get your act together, Kyle. Get your act together. We're worried about you, Kyle. Anyway, with all of this in mind, the MPAA may not be something that we pay much mind to, but I would argue that it's something that we actually should, because their practices and decisions impact the entertainment industry in a multitude of ways. Now, this is a topic that I could go on and talk about for the entire length of the show, but I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to focus on one branch of this large topical tree. In particular, I want to look at the difference between a PG-13 film and an R-rated one. And the reason why I want to focus on this is because the difference between the two can be pretty hard to pinpoint. Take, for example, the Liam Neeson action romp Taken in the Colin Firth historical drama, The King's Speech. Now, Taken features action-packed scenes of violence throughout, including a scene where Liam Neeson's character brutally interrogates a man via electrocution. And the entire plot is revolving around his daughter being sold into the sex slave industry, but it has a PG-13 rating. On the other hand, The King's Speech includes no violence, but features about 18 uses of the F word and has a naughty language rating of 5 out of 10, according to the opinion of the IMDb Parental Guide. And somehow, this film's rated R, leading to the assumption that the MPAA regulates profanity more than they regulate pulp action violence. Now, I don't mean to say that violence in films should be regulated, nor do I mean to say that every Pixar character should just be free to curse out whoever they want, even though some of them deserve it. Wally. What I'm saying is that there has to be a happy medium, and the MPAA is just altogether doing a poor job at regulating. It makes no sense to say that 1 F-bomb or exposed breast is okay, but 2 is worthy of an R rating and condemnation across the board. Nor does it make sense to say that every action-heavy film is worthy of an R rating. What we have to balance here is intent. You know, should Taken have been rated R and The King's Speech PG-13? I mean, I believe so, that little flip-flop, but how difficult it can be to decide is the negative factor here. Because a movie getting a specific rating can change its financial earnings tremendously, and filmmakers are very, very aware of that. R-rated films historically take in significantly less money than PG-13 films and below. They don't get as many butts in seats or people bringing friends and family members for obvious reasons. Now, we have been lucky enough to live in a period where films like, Get Out or Logan or Deadpool are making enough money, to rake in despite their R rating, but these aren't always the case. These are exceptions, by no means the norm. This fear of getting an R rating often causes filmmakers to water down their products, molding it into a film that is more likely to win the favor of the MPAA in the long run, despite its dip in quality or straying from the artist's original vision. I mean, look at Live Free and Die Hard. Fourth Die Hard movie. It's a good example of a film that just clearly stripped away a couple F-bombs and a couple blood scenes just to make it a bland PG-13 rating instead of following in its predecessor's footprints. Now, the thing that sucks about all this, I don't have a specific way to fix the MPAA. I don't have some 3-step plan or flowchart, but I don't think that the objective details like an F-bomb should change the way that a film is rated, as if to say that children around the world will be scarred with their virgin ears after hearing it, as if they don't already say it 10,000 times a day when their parents aren't around. I don't think that preaching safety and regulation is always worth shelving a film with a rated R rating when its tone and intent is meant to spread an important message. And I think that the conversation needs to be more subjective rather than objective. It needs to start with, okay, well, let's look at this movie. Should children see this? Instead of, oh, well, how many F-bombs does this movie have? I ranted last week about the need for creativity in Hollywood. And the MPAA can be a huge barrier for creators to create. It can be a huge barrier for people to see these incredible pieces of art, and for both the men and women behind the scenes involved and the moviegoers around the country. At the end of the day, it's something that needs fixing, and the MPAA just outright is not doing enough to make that change. Now, I know that was a lot of information, but before I go, I made some promises that I intend to keep. I promised thematic elements, which was delivered on because the whole conversation was super meta. I don't think any youngins are going to be following that. I promised crude humor, so here's a fart sound.
That was a good one.
And what I haven't brought yet is graphic nudity. Or have I? You see, you guys, it's been in front of you all along. Dr. Ronald is right here, and he's bearing it all. Look at those thundering thighs and that playful demeanor. Is this art worthy of an R rating, MPAA? Should this magnificence, nay, this art, be censored or hidden or put to shame? I think everyone in the world deserves to see this squirrel for what he is. We cannot body shame him, MPAA. Fix your ratings. The world deserves more graphic squirrel nudity. We're asking for it, and we deserve it.
Dr. Ronald applauds you on a segment well said. He's also tired of getting his suits dry cleaned.
Well, I try my best. Well, Dr. Ronald, as well as Eli and myself, will be back next time. But in the meantime, if you want more from The Real Deal, check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Angela Oriema.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. We'll see you next time.